40 minutes of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate goodness coming your way in just a couple of days. I cannot even imagine what all this Direct will hold. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switchforce. Gabe is here, and a Direct on Smash Brothers, not that surprising. We felt that one would come. We'd heard some rumors, but 40 minutes of Sakurai dishing all of his sauce and all of his secrets, Gabe. This is going to be exciting.
Yes, man, I was dumbfounded. I woke up, saw the tweet, 40 minutes, and that's because there's been two big Direct presentations that had an emphasis on Smash Brothers. The Direct that was Smash Brothers exclusive, and E3 had such a huge chunk of that dedicated to Smash Brothers. It feels like we know so much about the game. There has been insane detail that Sakurai has thrown our way to the... Look, if we have details about Donkey Kong's nose being a little bit different, yeah, sure, Sakurai can fill it with 40 minutes of mumbo-jumbo, but they have to be showing a ton of stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. So the last Smash Bros. Direct from August was just under 27 minutes. You add the E3 footage, it was about 25 minutes. And now we're talking 40 minutes of Super Smash Bros. This has to be, one, a lot of detail, right? I think that's inevitable. There's going to be a lot of nuanced details that hardcore fans are in love with and maybe less hardcore fans find boring. But I also think this is a big opportunity to dive deep into Spirits Mode, and hopefully this affirms that Spirits Mode is going to be a big deal that requires a lot to show off. I think that's got to be the focus here, right?
I was never worried about Spirits Mode not being substantial because, look, if we're not going to sugarcoat things, this is barely a new Smash Bros., right? Because, like, visually it looks a lot like the last one, and yeah, they've done fundamental, like, gameplay changes. They're speeding things up a little bit, and cool. But a lot of people that maybe played the Wii U version and aren't like super hardcore, they might not even notice those differences. So in my head, they have to do something here to differentiate it enough. And that becomes, hey, a bunch of new characters, and, you know, depends on what you think a bunch is, but we're clearly going to have new characters, but that's Spirits Mode. We didn't have anything Subspace-like for Wii U. And single-player content for Smash Bros. Wii U was maybe on the lighter side. So for them to come back around this time and make that a focus like I expect they're going to, that should kind of make up for it.
I think so. I think it'll be really cool. And as we've discussed before, hopefully they don't go into insane detail and we lose some of the surprise. But hopefully they do give us a good chunk of what it is. And more importantly, just that there is that much to talk about it. Before we get into like specifics of what we think they'll show character-wise or maybe some other aspects, DLC. I've seen some people say that, like, ooh, you know, they just talked about how they want to add more DLC to big games via their financial interviews, and also of note that this Direct comes right on the heels of that financial report where they did miss their target, so clearly a move to reassure and reinvigorate their investors. Do you think DLC has any place in this, quote, final presentation before the game, or is that something that you save for beyond launch?
It seems like that rumor about the Game Awards, like, we saw the picture of Reggie and Jeff Keighley, so I'm going to lean more towards that for when the DLC is going to get revealed. Plus, it's not Nintendo's style to announce DLC like this far before the game is even out. Like, yeah, I'm sure they'll do it beforehand, but we're still a ways out. They still have Pokemon to focus on, and they have Spirits Mode to talk about. Are we going to get into the actual predictions here? Because I have a question about Spirits Mode.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, what if this thing isn't even called Spirits Mode, and we've been calling it that this whole time, and it's something completely different? How much egg is going to be on all our faces?
A lot of egg. I mean, I think that's plausible. Maybe that was a placeholder, but I do think it'll still be called Spirits Mode. I still think the main framework that we have come to believe of it's tied into some sort of hero versus villain clash, some sort of like dead character, other realm type thing. I think that's all still there. It's just like, how fleshed out is this? Is there a co-op element as well? How much, you know, what does it tie into the rest of the game? There is so much content here. Maybe it has a huge part in the progression and the unlocks. It's hard to speculate, like, okay, what are we going to see from Spirits Mode? But obviously I'd expect to see a trailer that introduces it. I would expect to see them unveil some characters not playable, but via Spirits Mode, like the rumor of, Skull Kid being a boss in Spirits Mode. If that is to be the structure of Spirits Mode, then I think we'll get some reveals there of like, okay, this is in it, or maybe this area, this character, because that sort of then gives you like a, whoa, that's in the game, even if it's not part of the roster. I also would love to see just like maybe some run through. I mean, I'm sure the cutscenes will be a part of the trailer, and they'll emphasize that if it's there. But just like, hey, show off a level. There is a treehouse. Let's make sure we make note of this after the direct that does include Smash, but it also includes other games as well. So that could either be a place where they do show off like a live playthrough of a level of Spirits Mode, or maybe they just put some time into whatever new characters come out of this direct.
Okay, so let me ask you this: you are saying that you still think this Spirit Mode has something to do with like the rumors that like, hey, coming back from, I don't want to say the dead, but that you fully think that's what that is, right?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be blindsided by anything. I mean, hey, 40 minutes, there's a lot of opportunity for them to come in and say, we've got something nobody has heard of, nobody has seen, nobody has predicted, and I think, honestly, that would be the coolest way. Anything that they can do that has not been stated. So, yeah, it'd be really great if that 7-character rumor was true and we get that many super cool additions, but whatever they've got that no one knows about, to me, that's the most exciting part. I do think, though, that Spirits Mode will be what we expect it to be, and here we just get the details, and hopefully some super cool footage of exactly how they're putting that together.
All right, so let's leave the character stuff for a little while from now. I want to ask this. Do you think that the cutscenes we have seen now as the character reveals, do you think that gets incorporated? Because those things are beautiful. And with the Luigi one in particular, and somewhat the Castlevania one, although the King day-to-day like fake out with your boy,
King K. Rool?
King K. Rool, sorry, yes, I was blanking out.
Yes.
The fake out there, like that, I don't see how that would fit in, but some of the other ones are like thematically like tied a little bit. Isabelle, like toss that aside because no, but
I'll just stop you there. I don't think these cutscenes have anything to do with the game.
At all, right?
I think those are strictly character reveals that maybe have elements that sort of hint and eventually link to Spirits Mode, but I don't think like, oh, we've witnessed cutscenes from the game. We've already been exposed to a lot of that. I'm sure that if there are to be cutscenes that are story/Spirits Mode related, I think those things are still completely under wraps.
Yeah, because if you remember when the Luigi one happened, like people were like, oh my god, like the Spirits Mode is going to be about Luigi's spirit getting back, and yeah, most of those were like jokes and stuff, but some people started like really wondering if that's something that could happen, because in the first couple of reveals we see Ridley not like kill off a character, but close enough, and then the same thing happened with Luigi, so we did wonder if there was anything tied there. That is the most exciting part about this. Yeah, the character reveals are going to be cool, but I want to see what the Spirits Mode is all about, and I want to see just how far they're going to take it, because if it's as big as I envision it would be, this is going to be like the best Smash Brothers game ever. So now that we've spoken about Spirits Mode a little bit, Zach, what else do you think they could do? Do you think that they maybe showcase the online a little bit? We've seen glimpses just with the new modes that are very exciting that I know you and I are both interested in. Do you think that there's maybe a little bit of a deeper dive into what the online is going to feature? There was that rumor that 32 players can play up to the same time. Presumably that's some type of tournament thing. Do you think that we get a lot of information about that?
Absolutely. I mean, especially with the inclusion of paid online and Smash Brothers being sort of the tentpole title for that, I think they have to put some serious time there for this direct. And I honestly hope that rehashing is not a big part of this 40 minutes. Like, yes, we would love to see maybe some gameplay from some of the pre-announced modes, but I don't really want to go into the same spiel. And I could see Nintendo doing a little bit of that in terms of like, hey, this is the big final 1 month to go push to get everybody excited for the holiday season, all the Black Friday buyers, all those prospective Switch owners, so you do kind of like go over, here's what the whole game has, it's the craziest package on the market, go get it. But I do hope that they emphasize mostly things that we don't know about. But yeah, structure in the online, maybe just even like a showcase of the interface, the UI, how it's going to work. It would be great if there was some sort of unlock progression points. They did something like that with Mario Tennis Aces, and while the characters there are very easy to get, I do like how they have your score and whatnot, and so hopefully they can incorporate a similar thing into Smash Bros. So there is much more incentive to keep playing, and I do hope that they find a way to also show us how Spirits Mode and whatever single-player content they have makes this really fun on the go. We know that Smash Brothers obviously will be the go-to party game, and put it in the dock and play with all of your friends, or tabletop it on a surface and snap off the Joy-Con. But I'd love like something that really helps highlight, okay, Smash Brothers Ultimate is great in your hands with the 2 Joy-Con, go play it yourself on the go, whatever that looks like. But to answer your direct question, yeah, I think online, there's not much else besides that, right? It's like Spirits Mode online. They can go through a couple new stages. They can give us more details on music catalog.
Well, that's what I was.
If there's some wild card that we can't even predict.
I mean, hopefully, right? That's what we all hope for. We all want things we can't predict, that leakers can't ruin and rumors can't just completely take the excitement away from. But I was gonna talk about like the music and the stages. Do you think that that's like a focus? And they focus on that before, but new characters is probably going to be new stages, and presumably if one of these characters comes from a franchise that maybe isn't in Smash Brothers or is a new representation, we'll get some more music and stuff like that. So I'm sure some of the time is going to be taken by things of that nature, and some people are really into that. Some people aren't. For me, it's going to be more about characters and spirits mode. But yeah, it's so hard to imagine what they can, because 40 minutes is a really long time, Zach.
Right, and it's probably going to have a lot of, I would say, or maybe not a lot, but some time dedicated to going through very specific movesets, very specific changes, almost like Smash blog style content, because we have seen some of that before, and the last presentation was much more on kind of giving you a couple new characters and detailing the modes, and while I do think that'll be a huge emphasis here, I'm fully expecting 40 minutes to almost require and necessitate some super detailed coverage. I just hope that they break it up nicely. I like when they do like a new character and then kind of highlight what that character can do, the stage, maybe tie it into, like Castlevania, how they did like, but all the music from there is going to be in this game, and kind of have like a nice up and down flow, as opposed to like, I really don't want like 20 minutes of like, here's like new move tweaks, just because that's something that is slightly lost on me as a non-tournament, super esportsy type person. But I do. I think it's going to give us a little bit of everything across the board. It just still though, 40 minutes just seems like a lot. There's directs that don't go anywhere near 40 minutes and cover a plethora of games. This is one game focused after two presentations have already existed, and we just know so much about the title and the style and the characters and everything. I don't even know.
Yeah, that's such a difficult thing to predict. Do you think maybe it's time to get into characters now?
Yeah, so obviously what's on everyone's mind is the 7-character poster rumor that not only was an up and down roller coaster, but it really riled up the fan base in kind of a ridiculous way. We discussed that in a previous video, but 40 minutes is enough time. I mean, I think if you wanted to, if that's plausible, if that rumor is to be true, like, it could happen within a 40-minute presentation. You can, spice those characters in throughout and have one every couple minutes. I still don't think we get anywhere near that many, but I will say that given the running time of this direct, just like a Ken and Shadow or Ken and someone else, like, I feel like there's got to be more than 2 at this point.
Zach, I have had dreams of, and let's be clear about this before I say it, this is the last time that Nintendo's going to fully showcase Smash Brothers. They made that clear, like, hey, this is going to be the last big look at it right before. I'm sure there'll be like little trailers here and there, just like leading up for marketing purposes. But Zach, what if the very last thing they show, they close out the direct, and you think it's over, just like with the King K. Rool thing, and then you hear a laugh, and maybe it's just like Sakurai like staring at the screen dressed like Waluigi or something. Like, I have a feeling that like maybe Waluigi happens. Do you think that happens at all? Because that is a character that the fandom has kind of like lost it over. They absolutely want him in the game. They have made it known like no other character in existence. Do you think there's any chance Nintendo blows us out of the water and includes him?
To me, like, I get that it would blow people out of the water from, like, a just holy crap YouTube. I mean, there was a protest at PAX Australia. Like, people are very into this. But honestly, I think some of the other characters would be better long-term additions to the game. I know that might be blasphemous, and Waluigi sure would be cool. I am now team I don't think it happens. And I just feel like there's too many other characters that have been either rumored, teased, or would be really cool. And I hope that the time is spent there. I hope that the emphasis is on who else we can bring. And I think this opens the door, like I said, for a number of different characters, and maybe we even bring back some of the thoughts we had early on, and Sakurai digs deep into that pool, and maybe we do get, say, an ARMS representative. We just saw that Nintendo touted that game sold pretty darn well. It pushed across 2 million copies as of their recent financial report, and maybe there is now an opportunity. We've been on such this track of Waluigi and Ken and Shadow, and now it's Banjo-Kazooie and Isaac, and maybe it does go back to some earlier picks of a Springman and Incineroar, and maybe some of these characters that have kind of not been part of the rumor mill as of late.
And I'm just trying to wonder what they close off with. They do like doing it in like very cool ways. They had Isabel. They did the King K. Rool. So I'm wondering like what character can do that and have a similar reaction for people. I don't think Isaac does it. Maybe Banjo, I guess, would be something close. I don't think that people lose it like that over Incineroar. I feel like those last moments of the direct are always like saved for the hardest of core fans, the people that are like out there enjoying and making memes about it. Like it feels like Nintendo caters to that towards the end. So what do you think? Which character do you think could close out the show? Because Ken isn't doing it.
I'm wondering if we even get that kind of a closeout. I wonder if this is a different story, a different scenario where we get a Sakurai thank you and 30 days until you get to play our masterwork type end instead of a character closeout trailer. They do have DLC. You mentioned the Game Awards rumor. I think that's where that happens. I don't feel like we'll get DLC as part of this 40-minute show. Perhaps like a tease, though. I mean, Nintendo did announce the Breath of the Wild pack. While not giving full details, they did announce the season pass pack, whatever you want to call that, before the game came out. So perhaps they can tease and sort of throw that out there and say it's coming. I don't think we get details of like who the characters are or whatnot. So I feel like it's going to be a Sakurai like shot. Him just talking to you in the camera. Thank you. It's been a lot of work. We've built the best Smash Brothers we possibly could. The console comes out tomorrow. That's another thing to note, is that the console comes out the day after this direct, which is an interesting little nuance in terms of timing, which I think is also cool, because then you can say, hey, go get this tomorrow. You'll get your game code, and you can be ready for when all of this cool stuff you just saw releases next month. But I don't expect a character reveal to end this one.
Oh, I do. They just like doing that so much. One other thing I just thought about, and I feel like I already know the answer for this, but I want to throw it out there anyways. A test of some kind, a maybe not a demo, but just like testing the servers, things like that. Do you think that happens at all? I think there is a slim chance. I know this game doesn't need it. If any game doesn't need that, it's this one. But other companies with major games coming up, they have no problem doing it. Like, different platforms, but Fallout.
I feel like Nintendo pushes this more to promote the game than necessarily to test things. I mean, I know that's a part of it, but Smash Brothers really doesn't need that. I'm sure they feel confident in their online. That's never really been like, I don't know, just like betas of that sort don't seem. I know they have the Splatoon and the ARMS, but to me, and Mario Tennis, but to me that's more like to get the game awareness out there and give people a taste that they'd be excited to buy. I don't think it happens. I do think there's a slim chance, but I don't know that that's in the cards. I also just think like because this is being specifically emphasized as the final presentation before launch, like I don't know that they leave you hanging with like, oh, here's a CG trailer of, as you threw out there, like say Waluigi or of Gino, and then you just don't see game. Like, go get the game if you want to see how he plays. Like that seems very odd to me.
No, but even with King K, like they had the trailer of his like gameplay. Like, yeah, maybe don't like talk about it. But I don't know. I feel like they could still do that. So I'll disagree.
I just feel like a finality moment would be really great. Or if it's going to be like maybe like the, what I honestly think? I think it's a final poster. I think that is the final part of this direct. I think it's the poster expanding. It's like in no relation to the rumor poster, but hey, like here's the final poster. It's expanding. This character fits in. This character fits in. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Get the bundle tomorrow. If I had to bet, I'd say no DLC discussion. And hopefully it's just like a really, I've been pretty, I think, level neutral on Smash Brothers Ultimate. I love that they are bringing all these characters, and so far they've got my golden boy of King K. Rool in there, so I can't really complain. But I do hope that this is the direct and the presentation where we really feel like this is a big evolutionary step instead of just a remix. And they're fully capable of doing that with Spirits Mode, with whatever other additions we don't know about. And I think, honestly, bringing in a handful of brand new characters, not Echo characters, but brand new characters, will really help seal the deal and set this Smash Brothers as the game to get for the next 2 months.
Give me a number. How many new characters do you think gets announced tomorrow?
Okay, so in the last presentation, which is around 27 minutes, we saw, 5 new characters?
Sure, if we're including Echoes.
Including the Echoes.
Yeah.
So it would feel very weird if it was less than that to me. if it's a 40-minute presentation with say 2 or 3, I don't know.
Yeah, but Spirits Mode is gonna take up so like I'm not looking at that so long so much. I'm thinking like, hey, sheer like numbers wise, like how many characters is this
I'm
gonna
gonna
end
say
up being?
4, 2 echoes and 2 new.
Okay, that feels about right to me, honestly. So I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you. I was honestly thinking 4 as well. I would be disappointed if they announced fewer. And sure, half of them could be echoes, like that's okay. But then that leaves the question: hey, are you happy with what's new out there? God, that Spirit Mode needs to be on point. It really, really does. But all right, so now that we have,
we also get a little. I think we also get a little amiibo time. I just want to point that out.
Okay.
I know a lot of times they're lost and forgotten, but with the rumors of the Diablo amiibo and them basically being confirmed via in-game interface use amiibo options, I think that Smash is getting amiibo. We know that, and I think you're going to see a little bit of time of like, hey, here's a really cool King K. Rool amiibo, etc.
Okay, so now that we narrowed down the number to 4, let's pick the 4. I have my 4.
You're going to make me pick, okay?
Yeah, I have my 4. If you want me to go first.
Yeah, roll them out there.
Okay, so I'm going to say Ken and Shadow, and then for the new characters, it really feels like Isaac is going to be in there, and I do think that they get someone as obscure as Gino. Like, if it's not Gino, it's going to be Waluigi in my head, so one of those two. I'm going to say Gino.
All right. I'm going to go with Ken and Shadow as well. I know that's kind of boring, but it just makes a lot of sense. And then
that Isaac tease was too on point for me. Like I can't not say Isaac.
I'm so torn between Incineroar and Isaac. I still, I know last time we discussed, like, hey, Incineroar's not part of the rumor, so does he really fit, given that Gen 7 is kind of in the past, and we're waiting 8 next year? But I still think that's plausible. He's a really good fit for Smash Brothers. He'd look really cool, realized in the art style and in the game. Especially, with Charizard being relegated to Pokemon Trainer, so... the Isaac tease, but is that DLC related? It's such a toss-up for me between those two, but I'm gonna go on a limb, and I'm gonna say that all of this Microsoft high-fiving and back and forth and rumor-mongering is going to amount to something, and I'm gonna say we get Banjo-Kazooie. I think there's a lot of fire around that, or a lot of smoke, and so I'm hoping that this is finally the fire, and we get I think that would be like a really cool character. To me, even more exciting then Isaac, then Gino, then Incineroar. I think putting Banjo-Kazooie in the game, getting him back on Nintendo's side, nostalgia is a big part of the Switch and a big part of Smash Brothers, and he would be a great character to bring into the fold, and would sort of be a nice culmination of Microsoft and Nintendo playing nice on Minecraft, high-fiving on Twitter, and just the things we've heard, the scuttlebutt of like, hey, there is a Microsoft character that should be coming to Ultimate. That, to me, would be a great way to wrap up the roster.
Yeah, look, it's only a couple of days away now. It's gonna be. I have a little bit of an issue that's so early in the morning, but whatever. I'll wake up for this. It's okay.
Well, they got the Treehouse after, which let's touch on just for a little second there. They obviously are showing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Pokemon Let's Go, Diablo 3. I think Yoshi's Crafted World getting another debut is going to be interesting, and hopefully the gameplay there helps us understand, what this game really is, and maybe shows some changes and some evolutionary steps since we've last seen it, and gets us pumped for spring.
Yeah, Nintendo having like a little miniature version of E3 on their own in November for no reason whatsoever. I mean, they need it. We need information from them because we haven't had it for a while now. So I'm happy it's happening. It's just weird that it's happening in this way. 40-minute Smash, then even more Smash in the Treehouse, and then you get some Yoshi and Diablo and Pokemon. Like, all right, Nintendo.
Well, they got that Diablo console coming out the next day. They got the game coming out the next day. It's a big week for Nintendo, and I think it's also, as I mentioned, partially reactionary to the fact that maybe their numbers are a little soft for what some of their top investors would like to see. So let's showcase like, hey, we still got stuff coming. They tried to do that at their recent Direct. I think it was exciting for 2019, obviously, with Luigi's Mansion Animal Crossing. I don't think they did a whole lot to reassure with this year. But hey, on the off chance that we do get something crazy, that Treehouse could also be a nice place just to see. I don't know. Maybe there's a surprise within the Treehouse as well. If they're going to commit this much time and this much effort to this November 1st day, who knows what all it could hold. Let us know in the comments down below what you guys are predicting for the Smash Direct. 40 minutes. What do they fill it with? We've given you our ideas, our predictions, and our thoughts. Now let us hear yours. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Make sure to subscribe and stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from the Switch and Smash. We'll have a boatload of coverage on November 1st, so see you then. Until that time, for myself and Gabe, a fantastic day. Switch Force out.